Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. This is Jennifer Coons, one of the reference librarians at the Haverford Township Free Library, with your Monday, June 29 Reading with Reference. Last week, I talked about 3 books that all shared a common theme. This week, I'm going to talk about 3 books which seemingly have nothing to do with one another, except that they were all books that were in my house during the government shutdown. So I was able to read all of them during that time. They're all nonfiction titles, and I'm going to start with Pogues Basic Tech. So this is a long title. Pogues Basics, Essential Tips and Shortcuts That No One Bothers to Tell You for Simplifying the Technology in Your Life by David Pogue. Now, I do want to say that this is a little bit dated. The book was published in 2014. It was actually written in 2014, published in 2015. So the way of technology is that some of these things are a little outdated. However, I did find some helpful tips that I did not know about. He also has a website, which is constantly being updated and is more current with technology information. So this book is arranged in different sections. It has a section on gadgets, which would be your phone, your tablet, computers, which would be your desktop and your laptop, the internet, and social media. So, and then within those sections are smaller little sections about, it's very readable. It's very visually, it's like 1 or 2 pages per explanation. And there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of visuals. He infuses a lot of humor into his explanations and writing. And so it's kind of fun that way. I like to have a reference doesn't involve me looking at a screen, because I look at a screen a lot during the day. So I like to have an actual book that I can refer to with technological things. This also might be a helpful book for people who might otherwise need to do a book a librarian and can't because of the social distancing rules right now. So it's like a helpful sort of all-around reference about the technology in your life, and reading through it's easy. It's very easily digestible, and gives you an overview and lots of cool tips and tricks for the technology you have, and might answer a question that you otherwise would need to book a librarian for. So David Pogue has an interesting background. He earned a degree from Yale University in music, and actually was a conductor for a little while. He conducted classical music ensembles, but then somehow found his way into writing how-to books and has written over 100 of them. Some of them with the Idiot's Guide or the Such and Such for Dummies. He's written for those series of books, and then also written some under his own name. So this book, like I said, covers different aspects of technology. He shows you, for example, all manner of keyboard shortcuts. For example, like what do all those F keys mean at the top of your keyboard? A cute little, like, one thing that I learned that I didn't know was that if you're a boomer or a Gen Xer, maybe you like to when you're texting someone, you might want to add a period at the end of your text. Well, you can actually just press the spacebar twice, or tap the spacebar twice on your phone, and it will automatically add a period. That was kind of cool. So, like, instead of having to look for the period button on your phone, you can do that. A lot of tips on how to keep your gadgets and your computer secure. And how not to humiliate yourself in front of everyone, in terms of, like, when you're replying to an email, make sure it's not reply all if you don't want everyone to know what you're saying. Some other cool stuff. Oh, so do you know that whenever you dial 411 on your cell phone, you're charged $2.50? Well, now there's actually a free version of that. 1-800-FREE-411, which is a voice activated, like, let's say you're in your car and you don't have internet service and you can't find a phone number, you can actually dial this number and get the phone number that way. That was something I didn't know. Putting your phone in airplane mode can help save the battery. For iPhone users, it has something like the earbuds that come with your phone. You can actually use the controls on the earbud cord to take photos of yourself, or do other and shoot videos, so that it helps keep distance from you. Just little things like that. Oh, and the best one was that to right click on a Mac laptop, you use both fingers to tap the track bar. And I did not know that because this is a relatively new laptop that I'm working with. And I was like, how do you right click on this thing? And so I actually learned that from reading this book. Anyway, so lots of fun stuff from David Pogue. And this book is available in the Delaware County Library System. You can call the libraries that own it, which are Marple, Middletown. I'm not sure if it's available. It might be out at Middletown, but Marple, Springfield, and Newtown Square all have this book. They are all open for curbside pickup, so you can call those libraries and pick it up from those libraries, one of those libraries. The next book I want to talk about is Humans of New York. This is a book of photographs, and this book actually is available at Haverford right now. So if you wanted to call the library and have that and reserve that for yourself for curbside pickup, you can do that. So this book was it's a compilation of photographs that were taken by Brandon Stanton, who is originally from Georgia, but moved to New York City and decided in 2010, and he decided he wanted to try to make it as a photographer. And he set out to capture sort of a visual census of the city. So he just went around taking pictures of people, and like any good photographer, he would ask people beforehand to ask their permission if he could take their picture. And sometimes they would say a few words about themselves, or he might ask a question or two. And sometimes they would share information about themselves, and sometimes they wouldn't. But over time, he actually started asking more questions and doing almost like a little mini interviews with them. And it's just fascinating, so the result is sort of this panoply of humanity and humanness of the city. It's very colorful. The book reached number 1 on the New York Times bestseller list in November of 2013, and it stayed as number 1 for 26 weeks. So it was very popular. He continues to compile these photographs and interviews. As you can see, this is from he has a blog, Humans of New York. And these are the stories of people, the different countries he's visited. And then he has different series. So he'll have a theme, like right now he's doing a theme with veterans. He's taking their photographs and then interviewing them. This is over here is an example of the latest stories of people he's photographed, and interviews that are like maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs. It's so interesting just to read where people are from and what their life is like and the different things that they're dealing with. These are some photographs from the book. It's just a really fun book. The other cool thing about Brandon Stanton is that since the publication of Humans of New York, he's come out with another book called Little Humans of New York, which is kids, which is adorable. And also he's done other trips. He has done other series and actually raised money through the series. Like one of his trips he took a trip to Pakistan, took photographs, and realized there was some human rights issues going on there. And he set up a crowdfunding campaign and raised over $1 million to help with that. And he also did that regarding a series of photographs he took at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Institute at the pediatric ward, and also did a crowdfund campaign for that and raised over $1 million for pediatric cancer research. So using his photography to make the world a little bit of a better place. So it's Brandon Stanton, Humans of New York, available at Haverford. The next book I want to talk about is this Food 52 Vegan, which was in my house throughout the lockdown. And I experimented with a number of recipes from this book. I'm not a vegan, but I think vegan cookbooks are fun and interesting because they try to do all these creative things with foods that you would never imagine you could make something out of. For example, like cream, there's a lot of cashews involved, and you probably have to have some kind of good blender. Any vegan cookbook requires somebody to have either a pretty good food processor or a high-speed blender. So for example, one of the mainstays of the recipes are like this fake cream where you soak cashews in water and then you add a little bit of liquid and the cashews and you put them in a blender And if you want it to be savory, you add savory spices. And if you want it to be sweet, you add more sweet spices. And you can use that to, it has sort of the mouthfeel of cream, sort of like, it depends on how imaginative you can be when you taste it. But I thought it was kind of fun. Here are 3 things I made. So this is a vegan mac and cheese, and the sauce is made from butternut squash and the ever-present, I think there's some cashews in there. I think there was coconut milk, some cashews, and this thing called nutritional yeast, which is like I don't know what it is. It's like, it comes from yeast, but not the kind that makes the bread rise. But it has sort of a cheesy flavor. And I had my husband make that for me for my birthday back in April, and I thought it was really good. But again, I have a very open mind about these things. So I also made this chia pudding, where you take chia seeds and the non-dairy milk of your choice and a bunch of bananas, and you put it in a blender. Then you put the chia seeds in, and it kind of has this pudding-like consistency. You let it set in the refrigerator, and that was really good. And the other thing I made was saka, which is it's actually a street food in Italy and France. It's really simple. You take chickpea flour, and some of you know that I ordered a whole bunch of chickpea flour, not realizing it was a whole bunch of chickpea flour at the beginning of the stay-at-home order. So I had like 25 pounds of chickpea flour that I was trying to do stuff with. So I'm always looking for recipes that involve chickpea flour. Anyway, saka is also called farinata, and it's basically a mixture of chickpea flour, water, a little bit of olive oil, some salt. You mix that batter together. You let it sit maybe for a little while, and then you heat up a cast iron skillet with some oil, and you pour the batter in there, and you cook it on the stove for a little bit, and then you put it under the broiler, and you want to char it a little bit, and that's it. And it's like this little pancake, and you cut it into wedges, and it's eaten like a street food in places in Italy and France, apparently. So these are my books. So that's Food 52 Vegan, Pogues Basic Tech, and Humans of New York. I want to say that the Food 52 Vegan Cookbook I returned to Haverford last week. It's probably under its final days of quarantine, so it should be available for reservation and curbside pickup very soon. Other libraries in the system also hold this title. I will say that in a few days, you probably will not have to call each individual library for your curbside pickup. That I believe that our van service is going to be in operation. But stay tuned for information on that. You can always call the library, 610-446-3082, and extension 502 to talk to the circulation desk, which will be able to tell you what the latest developments are for curbside pickup. So those are my 3 books today. Enjoy your week, and it was great sharing with you again.